Hello everyone and welcome back to another wonderful screencast, I hope. This is on constructions. It's my favourite part of the maths course, can you tell? Construction of a perpendicular bisector. It sounds difficult, but it's honestly no problems at all. Do not worry about it. What are constructions in math? I've done this a million times. Constructions in geometry means to draw shapes, angles, or lines accurately. We're going to do that again. And what is a perpendicular bisector? A line which cuts a line segment into two equal parts, bang on at 90 degrees, and that's what we're going to do today. So this is what they look like. So we have a line and we only have a ruler and a compass, and we've got to cut this line in half, and we've got to have a perfectly 90 degree angle. So let's say this is 10 centimeters long, then we want to cut it directly at 5 centimeters. And you have to leave all your construction lines for these questions. So what we would do is we would use a compass and a ruler. We'd make a sweeping compass movement, another sweeping compass movement, and then we'd put a line between the two. And we're going to go over how that happens in a few seconds. Okay, but that's what they look like, and I'm going to show you in a minute. So nothing to worry about. Listen to the advice and you will be away with this quicker than I can say flash or something along those lines. Anyway, we're going to create those 90 degree angles there, and it's your turn to have a go with me. So make sure on all these questions you're going to have a go with me. So get that compass out, sharpen up that pencil, make sure your pen is absolutely ready to go, and that ruler of yours. And we're going to go over to my other camera now, and I'm going to show you how it's done. So the first thing we need to do to get this right is we need to have a good understanding of how our compass works, and that once we set this compass up, we don't make any changes to it. What I mean by that is, once we move this into place, the only real place that I'd like to see people using is just this top little bit. Okay, so first things first. Remember, we're trying to create this perfect line bisector, which means it goes right through the middle of the line. That the line that runs straight through will be at 90 degrees to this line in all different directions. So the way we do that, really, really simple. I'd position my compass on the point at the end of the line A, and then I just want to make sure that my sweeps or my pencil marks are over halfway. So if we imagine that halfway of this line is around about, and I'm just going to put a little point there so you can see it's around about there. That's roughly where our halfway is. We just need to make sure it's over halfway. But once we've positioned this now, can we see that's clearly over halfway, I'm not going to touch anything other than this little sweeping top bit. So I just need to be a little bit careful. I need to go nice and slowly. I need to be as accurate as possible and sweep up all the way through without putting too much pressure on my compass. There, you can see that. Now, without changing the distance between here and here, okay, I want to just move it to the other side. So I'm just going to keep that top. I can just position it nice and smoothly here and put it down. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction again, sweep up through, just like that, and we can see there that we've got our points. Now, all I do now is I look at where these two lines cross, and I can see it crosses just there on the bottom and just there, right there on the top. And then I grab my ruler, I line up those two lines, again taking my time to be as accurate as possible, and I just link those 2 points up like that. I can go through them, extend them a little bit through. So if we have a look at that, what we will see is we'll see a perfect 90 degree angle at all of these points here, just like that. And if we look a little bit closer, what we can also see is if I link these, the end of A with the top of the point there, okay, if I link those together and I do that all the way around, and not that you have to do this, but just to show you, look at that lovely triangle I've got there. And if I go and do the same here, and then here, you'll start seeing that each of these triangles is congruent to each other. So congruent means you could pick them up and put them down and lay them directly over top of each other. And if I do all 4 of these, you'll see that I also have a lovely symmetrical diamond shape that I've also created. So that is how we know that we've done this spot on. Okay, so remember that this line, if I was to measure from point A to point B, I would say that it is 10.4, okay? And if I was to measure to that line just here, you can see it's 5.2. So that is perfectly in the middle of those lines. If I was to get out my protractor now and to place it down on top, you can see that that's a perfect 90-degree angle here and a perfect 90-degree angle there. And if I did it on the bottom, you can see again that's a perfect 90-degree angle on both sides, and I know that I will be correct. Now, in all of these questions, it will ask you to leave your construction lines. So make sure that you leave these lines and that you do not rub them off. Now, all these triangles that I've done are extra, so you don't need to do those. But what we are going to do now is you're going to give the next question a go on your own, and then it will be time for the quiz. So give the next question a go, pause the video, give it a go, and come back and see if you've got it correct. Okay, so hopefully you've had enough time to do that. So the first step is we're going to just position our compass on the end of that line, making sure that our arc goes over halfway. I didn't need to be as much this time, so I'm just going to nip through here like that, making sure that my arc goes over that halfway point, which it does. Then flip it without changing it to the other side of the line, position it there and go the other direction. Okay, and there we go. Make my 2 points where the lines touch. Grab my ruler, draw straight through. And then just check that I've done everything correctly. So I should have it at 90 degrees, which I do on all sides. Yep, that's all right. And then measure that I've gone straight through the middle by measuring 10.4 and 5.2. So I know I'm absolutely on the money. So those are all the things that you should do before you make sure that you feel confident that you've done it correctly. So now it's time for the quiz. Give it a go, come back and see if you've got it right. But also just be aware that it's a little bit of a curveball question because the question might be slightly on askew. So just think about what you could do to make it exactly the same thing as you've done on these questions. Do them again on the quiz, but just think about how you can position maybe your paper to get it back to normal. But anyway, good luck with the quiz. Welcome back to the screencast, and I know you've been looking forward to this question all screencast. So just remember how you may be able to reposition your page so that it is nicely for you. Give this a go, come back and see if you've got it correct. Okay, so this is what we should have had. This is what it should look like there. Which is absolutely fantastic. If we got out a ruler, we should measure it's 5 centimeters. If we got out a protractor, we should measure that's 90 degrees on every side, and we should be happy days. So fingers crossed you did really well. As I always say, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, go back and watch the video a couple of times. It is a little bit technical, definitely hard sometimes to keep that compass perfect. So it's about practice. Practice makes perfect. And this will definitely help us on our next screencast, which will be how to construct right-angled triangles. But until next time, as always, absolute pleasure helping you with maths today.